Hi, we are Project Communication,
and we
are Perfectly Imperfect.
I'm Linda.
I'm Sherry.
And this is Gabe.
Hi.
And Mary is out of the building at the moment.
Yes.
So, Gabe, we are so fortunate to have you here today.
Thank you for having me.
So, you are, how do you pronounce your last name? Reyes?
Yep, that's exactly it. Yep.
Yes.
You got it.
I got it. So you are the co-chair of the Sheboygan County Democratic Party.
Correct.
And you just accepted a position at a state level.
Yes, I did.
So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Please explain to us what that is.
So the position that I accepted is the Regional Mobilization Manager. That's a organizing position that focuses on turning out the vote, just convincing people to vote for the candidates that we support. We're usually supporting progressive candidates. Just want to push our state and country towards the direction that we'd like to see it in, pushing it forward for the values that we stand for.
Okay, awesome. So what drew you to this type of volunteering and art and work?
It's a great question. So to start, I'll say when it came to history, I was always passionate about it, but I viewed it as just words on a piece of paper, just black and white, didn't have any real life impact. Tried to be more politically aware in 2016, but that's when things kind of got really ugly. I wasn't consuming media in the most healthy way, so I actually wasn't a voter. So I actually wasn't politically engaged and said, I got into the nihilistic mindset of politicians are all, bought out by corporations. Your vote doesn't matter.
I can relate.
But yeah, then, within the past few years, there's just, our country's gone in a direction that's just, I don't think it's sustainable. I think there's a lot of cruelty. It's not something I want to see for currently myself, people around me, but I also don't want it for future generations. Even though I don't have children right now, I can't imagine children being raised in this environment. So I decided to be more active, be more aware. I'm going to vote in every single election. When it came to the state party, I just want to be involved in any way that I can to help get progressive candidates elected.
Oh, awesome. Mm-hmm. Because I do see myself as a progressive.
Sure.
And I've always seen myself as an independent.
Mm-hmm.
But I do lean more to the Democratic Party right now. Just because of the values.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I believe everybody deserves to have respect.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, this is about humanity. This is how I feel. So, okay. So there's a lot of myths out there around the immigrants, immigration, and migrant workers. So could you tell me what the difference is? Or the similarities?
Sure. So when it comes to legal immigration, those are individuals who have either some type of visa, that could be a student visa, a work visa, or a temporary visa. And then there's also permanent residents, commonly known as green card holders. So those are legal immigrants. When it comes to illegal immigrants, those are people who have entered the country in an unlawful way, or they've allowed their visa to expire, but they're still in the country. That's the boilerplate how it is. That's how I would describe that.
Can I?
Yes, please do.
So what if it really was not in their control that their visa expired?
That's a great question. So that's where, you have immigration courts and you go through the process. I will be completely honest. I don't know the total ins and outs of the immigration process, but that does happen very often where people's visas expire. And that's where, you just got to be talking with your immigration lawyer and making sure that you're aware of your status and you're moving towards, that goal that you want to be, whether it's a naturalized citizen or, a green card holder.
Okay.
That's one I didn't mention. A naturalized citizen is separate from a green card holder. That's someone who goes through a bit more steps to become like a U.S. citizen who can vote in elections. Okay. And that involves like, taking a test, going through like an assessment process. It actually takes a very long time too. It's not something that's simple to do.
Well, I hear all the complications that people have gone through in the steps. Why haven't they become a citizen? They're here. Why don't they just become a citizen? How costly is it?
Oh, it's thousands of dollars. It's a lot of time, going into court. I don't have an exact number in my head, but yeah, it's high. Yeah.
It's high. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought.
And the system itself, like you were saying, is just so complicated. It takes, there's individuals who have been here a decade more, and are still trying to become a naturalized citizen.
Okay.
And they're doing everything the right way.
Exactly, they are.
That's because this is my. When I was talking to you before about arguments, this seems to be the key thing.
Sure.
Why didn't they become citizens? They've been here all this while. And it's like, I'm sure they don't want to be deported. I'm sure they were trying.
A frustration I have is when like they're actually in court.
Yes.
Like doing those steps, and then they have someone who just rips them away and throws them into a vehicle. Like that's just.
Thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah,
yes.
There are people who use those three terms like rapists, murderers, drug dealers, and it's like, okay, like I can agree with you that people who have committed like egregious crimes should not be allowed to be an immigrant in the United States or become a naturalized citizen. But when there's people who are going through these steps and they're being ripped away when they're putting into the years, hours, the money towards like putting in the work to become a citizen, and you're just it stripped away from that and your family, like that's where like it's just disgusting.
It is
well,
thank you.
That's a kind word.
Yeah.
I'm the co-chair of the Sheboygan County Democratic Party. Yeah, I gotta be
yes,
gotta be public forward.
Now off camera, no, I'm kidding.
No, it's
off camera. He's still he
is.
I'm
He's
like,
so even.
and I got words coming out of my mouth, and he's just so calm. So okay, I know several people who have green cards. And they're a little fearful.
So I'm actually Mexican American. My mom is a third generation Tejana. Have you guys heard that word before?
No.
So Tejana is just basically a Mexican American woman. She's third generation Tejana. She's, her family had lived in Texas for I think it was about 100 years. So that's her story. My dad is actually born in Mexico. He's from Guanajuato, which is in central Mexico. He came to the States when he was 18. He had been working on the farm from 13 to 18, chose to come to the States, got to Wisconsin eventually, and he's been working the same job for like 30 years. Works in Fond du Lac. He has a green card. So they're legal. My mom's an American. My dad's a green card holder. I understand the fear that people have because with everything that's still going on, with things that were happening last year, with the huge ICE raids in cities, they weren't doing targeted operations. They were going into cities and just, if you looked a certain way, whether that's, slightly darker skin, you could have been across the board. Like, we've all read the stories. We've all seen the videos. They were harassing people, pulling them out of their car. Regardless of status. And it was, it's terrifying for people. I've been told like even the Hmong community here in Sheboygan is still frightened a bit because of the Asian man in Minneapolis who was ripped from his house, nearly naked.
In the bitter cold.
And that it struck fear in people. And I had someone who asked, like, well, they've been here for 50 years. Why would they be afraid? Because it doesn't matter. Like, if you're legal, there's still that potential to just be in that scary situation.
Yeah, and I know that some of the people that I know are fair skinned, blonde hair. You know, they're from the Europe and on that side of the pond.
Sure.
Yeah.
And they have that going for them, but they're still afraid. They're still afraid. And I'm afraid for them. And I don't want to live in that fear, but be smart. And how do you be smart to protect yourself?
Yeah, like with, you know, one of the communities that I mentioned, they just don't want to come out of their homes. And for that shouldn't be being smart. You know,
No.
like...
Yeah, is that what's meant by being smart?
We should be...
How sad.
We should be focused on, like, you know, building a community and, like, being a welcoming community, being a welcoming country. Our country's built on, like, immigrants.
My great grandfather came over here as an
Welcoming.
immigrant, as a child. He was like 2-3 years old. And my entire ancestry is they all migrated over here to the States. So we are immigrants. The only one who isn't an immigrant is the Native Americans.
Yeah, we've gone through this, you know, decade after decade, century after century, where, like, even, like, when it was the Irish coming over,
Yes.
when it was the Italians, and then, you know, we had slavery, which was, you know, one of the most awful things in human history. And then we had Japanese internment camps in the 40s, so that, you know, did it to Japanese Americans. So this isn't...
And
It's-
Sheboygan County has a history.
It was a sundown town.
Well, no, she just taught me something, before we were rolling.
The fairgrounds was an internment camp for Japanese.
I think I heard that somewhere. Now that you say that, I just got goosebumps.
I had never heard
I did.
Yeah.
I did too, and I'm like, when I get goosebumps. I know.
Yeah.
And it's, and you know, even
it's-
mentioning internment camps, like those ICE, you know, detention centers.
They're internment camps, basically.
No,
We don't know.
No. They're concentration
Well,
camps.
And you know, there's no oversight from our Congress people who want to understand what is happening in there and, like, make sure that people, like, if we've gotten to the point where we can't even provide basic necessities to incarcerated people, what are we doing? Yeah, like, it's
That have mostly done nothing. You know, and you get the stories of the worms and the food and the
Not having proper
getting
medication.
medical
Yep,
care,
yep.
diabetics in there with, you know, and then you get people on that social thing that says, where's your proof? Well, where's your proof it's not happening?
why aren't they letting Congress people in?
Yeah, why
and
aren't they
do the
not letting people
oversight?
Yeah.
in to see it?
Right.
So if you're covering it up, how do you get proof if they're not allowing you in?
And then when they do go in and come back out, they're bashed or
Or
they're
you're threatened and
Right.
all the other
Okay.
fun stuff. I just find it disheartening. I think disheartening,
I find it deeply depressing.
that too.
And if I dwell on it too much, it really messes with my mental health.
I cannot watch the videos longer than 10 seconds because it's close to home. You know, it could be a family member of mine. Like even talking about it's like, it gets me
Right.
emotional. And that's why, like, I try to help where I can, whether that's, you know, helping out, like, you know, being a part of community groups that provide mutual aid. There's awesome people in this community who are doing, like, incredible work in that area. Don't want to put them out there in case they don't want to
No.
have their names thrown out there, but
Yep.
really appreciate certain
You
people.
know who you are.
Yeah, you definitely
And
do.
thank you.
And we give you a hands up.
Yeah.
God bless you. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So just before we go on, what is the difference between migrant workers? Do they just come in, work on farms or wherever for a short period of time, and then they go back home, or how is that?
Depends on the visa. So there's H-1B visas that are more for, like, higher skilled. There are, like, more farm work visas, where they do have temporary employment status, and it's on them as well as their employer to keep their status updated for as long as the work is available. But they're also, the illegal immigrants who, because they don't have that visa status, they are accepting more unstable, lower paying jobs.
Okay.
They are more susceptible to being, abused, manipulated, which is, unfortunate. Yeah.
Because of the language barrier.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
And because they're just trying to have a better opportunity, they're going to accept it. They're going to maybe allow this treatment of them that they wouldn't normally.
Okay. Well, they know the people that are abusing them know that they aren't protected, and they know they better do what they say, or they will report them.
Exactly.
Which is really use them, but deport them if you don't like something. Well,
Yeah, that's abusive
it
behavior.
is. It's so abusive. So I think we already kind of talked about what a work visa was.
Yep.
And the difference with a green card. You already explained that. Green card is permanent legal residency, right?
Correct.
And a visa is legal, but you're not really a resident. So a visa where...
Green card allows you to permanently work and reside in the United States.
But you cannot vote.
You cannot vote.
Okay.
You don't get as many benefits. But yeah, that's the difference.
Okay. And then a visa, you're just here
Temporarily, whether it's student visa, like a tourist type visa,
Okay.
or a work visa.
Okay. And then I think we already discussed what illegal and legal was. Is there a better word for legal? Because I refer to people as illegal. I don't say those illegals, but is there a better word? Undocumented?
Undocumented is another word. I know there's like a few others.
Because it's kind of a trigger word,
Yeah.
and I'm like, well, you're either legal or you're not.
Yeah.
It's an all-encompassing, because there's different statuses on being illegal. It's you could be an asylum seeker.
Well,
you could
right.
Yeah.
See, that to me, that's all different. Yeah.
Yeah. We could.
This is a real deep subject.
It really is.
So what are your protections if you're actively seeking asylum, but your case has not been all the way through yet?
That's a great question. So to start off, to request asylum, that you're seeking asylum, first you usually do that at the border when you're crossing. You have to meet certain criteria. Basically, your home country that you're leaving has to be persecuting you for your race, religion, nationality, political opinion, or sexuality, your social identity. And proving that, can be difficult. And then you can be turned away, right there, right at the border, and then, where do you go after that?
So sex trafficking or anything
that's
like
where that can
kind
happen.
of stuff. Okay.
If you're accepted, then you're going through the immigration process, which, we kind of already touched upon, is very...
And it seems like they can just pull it away if they decide to.
Yep, they very much can.
So I kind of sighed in the middle of that because they're seeking asylum to come here. And these are all the things we're experiencing here.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And I just couldn't help.
And I was going there too because I thought, and where would we go? Where would we go?
Canada's pretty nice. No.
They're not taking any of us anymore.
No, I love my country. I want to stay right here.
Refugee is something else that I touched or brought up.
Oh, yeah, what is? I never thought of that one.
Refugees are people who, kind of similar to asylum, but they're not coming at the border. So they're in their country and they're requesting to be a refugee to come over to America. If America determines a country is a country that we will accept refugees from, then that individual in that country has to go through a very long process. It takes usually at least 2 years to...
Okay, so I know when the war broke out in the UK... Ukraine.
Gotcha.
Yes. We brought a lot of people over here as refugees. Mm-hmm. So that wouldn't have taken 2 years.
They may be more considered an allied country, being in Europe. So, like, if you're in more of like the Middle East, and you're, in a country where there's war in the Middle East.
This is complicated.
It's very complicated.
There is nothing simple.
That would make sense, though.
Yeah.
That you'd give preference to an allied country.
Yeah.
Yes.
Although I'm not going to go there.
So you go through a 2-year process for certain countries if you're more of an allied country. Now you got me thinking, like, because Ukraine probably has a bit more easier way to even just enter. Like,
right.
Anyway, if you're accepted, then you can come in. There's a specific amount of refugees that they allow into the country. One thing that just comes to mind right now is for, I believe it was last year, it was a cap of about 1,000, I want to say 2,000 refugees that the federal government allowed. 1,700-ish were let in.
Okay.
Almost all of them were from South Africa, and they had a certain fair skin, and then 3 were allowed from the Middle East. Literally just 3. So it was like, these aren't the specific numbers. 1,697 were white South Africans. 3 were from the Middle East, when there's so much going on in the world, in Palestine, in Iran, in Sudan. Like there's so many countries where we could be accepting refugees because of the environment that they're living in right now. But no.
Were these people, though, from South Africa even looking to come here initially? It seemed like they kind of went and said, "Here, we want more of you." But am I wrong?
What was reported by the federal government was their white South African farmers were being targeted by black South Africans, and
it's pretty much been proven false. But anyway,
exactly.
I'll say it.
So it just with that and everything else that's going on, like, it's hard not to say that it's based on the color of your skin. Which is just it's
right, especially
disgusting.
Yes,
it
is.
But so I used to be in a rescue, a dog rescue, and I found it so interesting that black pets are the most difficult to get adopted out.
Oh, wow. And I love black cats, but anyway.
Yeah, so when we're talking about color, we have a lot of prejudices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would not imagine that it would even go into like animals, because everyone,
and maybe it's
if you're a dog
connected,
lover, you're a dog
yes.
lover. Yeah.
But no, that is something that black dogs, black cats have a more difficult time getting adopted out. So I'm just like, boy, we are so fixated on color in this country.
I think it's our media trains us that way, whether it's like, not even like news media that can be biased depending on what channel that you're watching. It's, movies that we grew up on, or, songs. So,
I gotta share this.
Sure.
Okay. So I'm sorry, family member.
That's a disclaimer.
Disclaimer. We were sitting around the table, and a family member said, "Those black people now have a channel all their own."
I'm sorry.
and I just sat there and I was speechless.
You have to look for blacks. I mean, it's not as bad as it used to be.
and I was a little speechless, because I was like, I don't know how to answer that. And my other sister says, "Well, the whites have had theirs for years."
There you go.
Good.
Love her.
Yeah. But I find that our I don't even know what to call it when you can't see the forest for the trees.
It's really enlightening to see that. I have a this was years ago, pretty progressive friend who is very open-minded, and she was talking about, like, well, we have Black History Month and this and Asian whatever, and we always have done all these different cultures. Anyway, and she said, when are we going to have a White American History Month? And I looked at her and I said, every other day of the year? And she stopped, but, oh yeah, maybe you're right. I am right.
Okay, we've got
we digress a little. Yes,
when it comes to immigrants, though, I think there is a specific like media pipeline that we've had where starting with, was it Reagan that passed the fair, like, I'm not going to remember it, but like in news before this law was passed, you had to show both sides on no matter matter what bias you had to propose the other side,
which I think
to
is
the viewer.
And that's and just the facts.
Yep.
Not your personal opinion.
Once that law was struck down, then we got like talk radio, the Rush Limbaughs of the world. Ugh. Then we moved on to, Fox News, where it was very just hyper conservative. And then after that, we got our podcasters and our social medias that just trap us in these echo chambers where, we're not listening to the other side. I think, in that specific pipeline that I drew out, that's like 50 years of them, demonizing, immigrants.
Yeah.
Just painting them as like the worst
They're
of the
all
worst.
Horrible.
Where it even got to the point where in, the 2024 election, when now Vice President J.D. Vance was literally said to a reporter, I'm going to make up lies if I need to, referring to I think
St. Louis.
Well, I think it was in his state. It was in like Cincinnati or Columbus or something in Ohio.
Yeah,
people eating cats and dogs. I can't remember which group it was.
And there's no evidence. And everybody says, well, if there's evidence, okay, show me the evidence. There's no pictures. There's no news reporting. And if it was true, every person who was there would have had their cameras out. Mm-hmm. And there wasn't any. Yep. And he said he made it up. And they're still believing it.
That's what it takes. Yeah.
And do whatever it takes.
And like just when you're trapped in those, chambers and you're hearing this day after day, week after week, scrolling, you're okay. Like seeing these headlines, like you're going to just have this
going to be
hatred fester. Yep. Yeah. It's going to be ingrained in you. Like this is how you're going to view those people. On like the really, really dark side of it, you have people who go into mosques, who go into synagogues and just start, killing people, unfortunately.
Well, we are demonizing every culture except for the white culture.
Exactly.
And we're demonizing every religion except for the nationalist Christians now.
Yeah.
We have a history of demonizing what we are afraid of and what we cannot control.
Anything we perceive as different.
It's different from us.
I don't want to own that because I really, but us white people.
Yeah. The white culture in general.
And I just want to add to the whole immigrants doing, criminals and everything. I've been researching this. It's more than they're more than twice. Okay, U.S. citizens are more than twice as likely to commit violent crimes than anybody
I don't know
here,
the numbers.
illegal or illegal.
I can never remember the numbers.
It was 63%.
But it's quite high and it's basically white men. The high majority is white men.
And we kind of touched upon it, because they are like trying to become citizens or just trying to have an opportunity in this country. They're going to be stand-up people. They're going to follow the rules.
Right. That's
it's.
We addressed that issue in a previous podcast.
Well, and and here's, we got to wrap this up quick.
Okay.
But what I have seen, or what I've been noticing, is that there is no eye contact. Oh. When I'm out and about and I see different nationalities, there's no eye contact with a white woman. Oh, hell no. And I try to be friendly. And there is just like no eye contact. And I remember earlier this year, when I was in a store and I was purchasing something. I'm not going to say what it was.
Okay.
And I just looked at the gentleman behind the counter and I said, I am so sorry. I need to apologize. And he looked at me. Why do you need to apologize? I'm apologizing for my country. And he says, you don't need to. Yes, I do.
Wow.
And that's when he looked at me for the first time. And so I'm now, anytime I can make eye contact with somebody, I'm a threat. I'm a white woman. And I find that so sad.
I think we've become less social. I think you're right. Absolutely. But I think I've seen that in other areas too, especially younger than us, maybe. People avoid eye contact, but you're definitely.
But I've
Yeah.
also noticed that we're opening the doors for each other.
Yeah.
I have noticed that. So no eye contact, but I'll hold the door for you. Which I'm like, okay, this
interesting observation.
Yeah. If I was walking down the street in an all black area by myself, and there was a whole bunch of black men, I'd be keeping my head down or going to the other side. But if I was walking down the street in a white area and there was a whole crowd of white men coming towards me, I'd cross the street too.
The street.
But I might feel a little more nervous in the first. Now, bear with me. Only because, not because I'm necessarily afraid of them, but because I'm wondering what they're thinking of me.
Yes.
Honestly, I'm not just saying that.
No.
I'm like, ugh. But anyway, we should probably move on.
Yeah, we gotta move on.
We did definition of legal and illegal. What is the penalty for coming into the country illegally?
I mean, at this point, you could just be thrown into a car and then taken to a detention center. You could be flown out to a different country and held there. There is no set standards for where we are right now.
So the first time someone enters the country, that's a misdemeanor.
Correct.
Yes, okay. So if they're sent out and come back again, then it's a felony charge.
Correct.
Okay. I'm sorry. I was trying to speed it up because I'm looking at the time.
Go ahead.
The next one's pink.
Yeah.
Benefits. What benefits do...
So undocumented immigrants do not get any benefits unless it's life-threatening. So if they go to the hospital and they have life-threatening injuries, they're going to get treated, as we would expect.
I would hope so.
A hospital to do. Even if you're just a tourist visiting, you're going to get treated if you have life-threatening wounds. If there's a natural disaster, they may get some relief for that.
Okay.
But outside of that, they're not getting much.
School.
K through 12. School will be provided to children. When it comes to legal immigrants, depending on the status, we talked about visa as well as green card and naturalized citizens. For naturalized citizens, you get Social Security, you get health care, you get education benefits. Yeah, you get pretty much
all the benefits of a citizen.
Correct.
Because they're a citizen.
For a visa, it might be a little narrower, but it's kind of the same.
Oh, okay.
But those are the benefits.
So when you have immigrants over here and they're working, they still put into the government, they pay all the taxes, don't they?
They sure do.
So they're putting in and getting absolutely nothing in return.
Correct.
Other than if a life-threatening illness or injury. Oh, that seems so fair.
And even when they have that life-threatening injury, the hospital actually gets reimbursed for providing them that that care.
That makes sense. Though.
Yeah. Okay.
We've kind of said we already covered the process of becoming a citizen.
Yeah.
Okay.
DACA.
Okay. Yes.
What about DACA?
So DACA, this is one I don't have as much information about. I believe it started when I was younger. It's for children of immigrants, correct? And they are given basically visa status, and you're able to live here, you're able to work here. I believe the administration completely stripped them of that.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong.
No, that's true.
It's deferred action for childhood what does it stand for?
I don't.
I mean, I know what it is. So deferred action for childhood arrivals. I don't know.
Oh, that could be.
But
Like
right.
I said, we're perfectly imperfect.
So those protections that really can be just taken away whenever, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I think it was Obama that did that. That put DACA into place.
He did.
Yes.
He did.
Yeah.
So anyway, okay, so that's about all we really have on that.
Yeah, that's all
huh?
we.
It should
Yeah, I guess mentioning like, these can be stripped away from these people just on, just any given moment. There needs to be a more structured way for immigrants to become citizens.
Especially those that came here as children.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they didn't have a choice. They came here and they are working.
Mm-hmm.
They are part of our community. They are part of what keeps the economics continuing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
and I looked up recently too because I kept hearing people or reading people saying they had plenty of time to become a citizen, and I looked it up. DACA recipients cannot independently seek out citizenship.
Yep.
They have to have a sponsor. And all kinds, several other things. There, you can look it up for yourselves. I have all that at home, but they cannot. They need several different things to go about doing it.
Yeah.
They
So
can't
there's
just do it.
So when we want to take the situation and minimize it to this, when it's actually this, we are being woefully ignorant.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we need immigrants to sustain our economy, sustain our communities, just completely like ripping everyone out of the communities that they're living in. Like, we've seen ICE pull up to churches, schools, places of work. Like, these are people who are actually engaged in the community, making it the community that it is, and to just rip them away, you're tearing apart families. You're ruining economies. Yeah, it's.
And not to mention the generational trauma.
Oh yeah.
We did this to the Native Americans as well. Rip the children away, and there's a whole generation that is still in trauma that cannot and are not able or feel safe to be able to speak their language or to teach their children the history, because their history isn't in a book. It's verbal.
Yeah.
We took that away from them.
It was not that long ago.
Right. So this generational trauma is a real thing.
Yeah, and I can't imagine the generational trauma that the city of Minneapolis is going to have
Oh,
with
boy.
what they experience.
And it's continuing.
It's continuing. Like, they're appreciate you, Minneapolis, for what you did, for what you're doing. Yeah, for the just community aid, the mutual aid that you provide to each other is just incredible.
How you stood up together. You rose up together. Oh my God. To me, that was just so powerful.
They're the first city to be nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize.
I know.
Which is, I hope they win.
And I was watching the monks, the peace walk, and I thought they should get it.
Yes.
But I'm thinking, no.
Yeah. I think they're both up for
They're
it.
both up
Yeah,
for it.
I can't imagine 10 years from now, just having that flashback of just being under siege, literally, by your own federal government. Which
I have a couple people I know in that area, and they're very scared.
Okay.
Sorry.
Go. Okay.
Yes, and immigrants contribute $90 billion a year. Anyway, here, one of the complaints that we hear is expecting everyone to speak English. Children learn languages they are introduced to, and we know that the window of understanding another language is closed when they're, I think, 5. Yeah.
Well,
it's between 11 and 14 is when that window shuts down, and you get older. It's very difficult to learn another language.
Correct. But it's pretty young.
Well, I think I read a factoid that said it's within 2 generations of immigrants being in any given country, they're pretty well assimilated. So they may keep traditions, but they're pretty assimilated into the country that they're residing in.
Hold the traditions.
I love the tradition.
I love
like if they didn't, we wouldn't have the amazing restaurants that we have.
We have margaritas.
Celebrations,
guacamole.
Being able to throw back some tequila.
But the language is how awesome to be able to speak more than one language. You know,
it's beautiful. Yeah.
So
so we're running out of time. Is there anything you would like to share with us that we haven't covered? And we covered quite a bit.
Yeah, we covered a lot. There's a lot to talk about when it comes to immigration. What I would say is what is happening and how immigrants are being treated is not okay. You mentioned that what you focus on for Project Communications is humanity. How immigrants are being treated is not humane.
It is not humane.
It's not respectful. It's I would describe it as evil. The way that, and, not even just immigrants, the way that this, wouldn't even know what to call it. These operations are being, how they're being executed. It's just tearing apart communities. It's tearing apart individuals, families. It's tearing apart our country.
Yes.
We need a better process. I don't think we need to start looking at each other as people. Regardless of the language that we speak, the color of our skin, we need to be able to see each other as humans first, and then be able to have like those policy discussions and have it actually be focused on policy. Like discussing, how should the system be so that this is easier, and not just going to that demonization that, murderers, rapists, drug dealers, like that's not solving anything. We need to be able to just...
It's not accurate.
Yeah. Just putting up those buzzwords is, you're going to attract viewers or whatever, and I think that's what it boils down to is like people just want to be either elected or they want to attract attention, where they're just screaming out these buzzwords that get people really riled up and angry, but we need to actually solve the problem. We can't just we need a solution. We can't just be bringing up the problem and not doing anything about it.
Yeah, so we can agree to disagree, but let's get down to the facts. How are we going to resolve this?
Exactly.
So we want to thank you for coming in today. This has been a pleasure. We are going to ask you to please like, share, comment, because we really need that to boost our presence in the community and beyond. So thank you again. And we are Project Communication, and we are perfectly imperfect.
We're all beads on one string. Every man, every woman, boy and girl. Beads on one string. We're one world. I touch, you touch. We feel so much. We hurt and we heal. We know love is real. You dream, well I dream. We plan, sometimes scheme. Oh, how we love to eat. And everyone has to sleep. 'Cause we're all beads on one string. Every man, every woman, boy and girl. Beads on one string.